Hi, it's Joe Mazumdar from Exploration Insights at the Metal Investment Forum in Vancouver, Canada, with Brendan Macdonald of Fireweed Zinc.
Good to see you, Joe.
You've had big news just released this morning.
Yep.
A company that had prior interest and ownership of the asset that you're actually advancing has done a private placement with you.
Yeah, that's correct. So Teck Resources, I believe the third largest zinc miner in the world and owner of one of the largest zinc-lead smelting facilities in the world down in Trail, has taken a 9.9% interest in us. So they're leading this financing we've opened.
So they also, you did a deal with them on their project to consolidate the area. That was just last year.
Yeah, and that was their kind of first toehold in the company. So next to the Tom and Jason project, properties, was the NID property, which had been held by Teck and Cominco for quite a while. It was a very intriguing property for us. The boundary zone on there has some very interesting intersections that we wanted to follow up on. So we had worked Teck for a while to try to get them to vend it to us, and they did eventually for all shares, which we took as a vote of confidence that they wanted to take all shares. But I don't think there's a bigger vote of confidence for them now to step up and put actual money in to help us advance this. So, you know, a company that not only has worked the NID project, but used to be optioners of the Tom project back in the late 80s and 90s. You know, they understand this. They know what they're getting themselves into.
So how do you think their mentality on the Tom and Jason and that entire district has changed since the last time they were there?
I think that, you know, the work we've done and the work that was, I mean, there was not much work done after them until we got there. I think what we've demonstrated is the broader thesis of a district potential. I think that's something they're interested in. And you think about the emergence of Red Dog in that time and their own understanding of what it takes to make a zinc district. Maybe they're seeing that, you know, same thing emerging there. So for us, what we're trying to do this summer, and not just because of Teck, but because of what we think is the best next step, is try to understand what exactly is in this district. What are we working with? Let's not get too bogged down in permitting until we know what we're going to permit, right? So this will be a very exploration-focused summer.
So in terms of exploration focus, what should we see in terms of catalysts? What are the programs you're indulging in? With how much money will you have, I guess, more importantly, after the financing is closed?
Yeah, so we should have about $6 million after the financing is closed. So we'll probably spend about 3 to 4 on site this summer. And I think that's going to be primarily regional exploration, with maybe 30 to 40% of it on step-out drilling of the known zones. And the idea to be, like I said, maybe not define things. We don't need to build something to indicate, or maybe even necessarily infer, to get some sense of what's there. You know, we want to be able to arm wave and say, this particular mineralized zone seems to have some continuity, or seems to have potential to do this. That will be the important thing for us in this, because you know, if you constrain your drill budget to stuff that can only be added to a resource, you'll never get the big picture, right? Because you're taking too small steps. So this is really a summer for big. This was
some of the problems with hitting those faults and then trying to understand that to the nth degree, whether you really wanted the big picture in terms of, is there another deposit here?
Yeah, and it's like, so we, you know, last summer we drilled a hole at Jason South. Going through a fault meant that we went between 2 lenses. So it was kind of accomplished nothing. And in Jason South, I feel has tremendous potential to grow, but I don't think that's up for debate, all right? So what we want to do is establish the stuff that is up for debate. You know, whatever your arm waving is about how much zones like Jason South or Tom East or Tom West can grow, those are like higher degree of certainties than the zones that maybe have not even been drill tested yet, or the zones that are really seen limited drilling, like the boundary zone. And so those are the ones we want to get the handle on. We want to get lock those in to at least a loose sense of what they might be.
So that exploration program you did last year, I remember you were doing seismic, you were doing other gravity to try and search for these deposits undercover. When do the results from that become open to interpretation and then maybe potentially generate drill targets for the summer?
Well, we're hoping that the geochemistry, which is not just the B horizon, but also the soil gas hydrocarbons, is pretty imminent. We're expecting the last bit of that pretty soon. And I think as soon as we have that in hand, we'll build our interpretation of it and put something out. The geophysics, like a lot of people, we're constrained by the availability of good people. So your geophysicists are your bottleneck, and if you want to have the best do it, that's where you are. So we're expecting about another month for our geophysics to be released.
So all of that will go into your program, whatever you end up doing for the summer. And I guess that'll be a catalyst in itself, the announcement of what your program will be? Yeah,
I think once people really start to see what we're aiming for, and this is going to be rather than a bunch of, attempting to do a bunch of base hits, we're going to be swinging for a lot of fences this summer, because I think that's important to kind of constrain the district potential.
Okay. Well, Brendan, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Okay, that's Joe Mazumdar of Exploration Insights with CEO Brendan Macdonald from Fireweed Zinc at the Metal Investment Forum in Vancouver, Canada.